Evolutionary.org podcast coming your way. Episode 403. It's a Q&A, guys. We have a fun Q&A coming your way. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. We talk about our favorite bodybuilders. We're going to talk about fast food. And we're going to talk about steroid use. So the first question, well, first of all, I got to introduce my man here. I'm Stevesmi, by the way. You guys know who I am. And who are you, buddy? Rickster, right? What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
Good, good. All right, guys. So the first one we're going to talk about is longest I should ever run tren. So, I'm pretty experienced with tren. Thing about tren that I noticed, the first couple weeks when you're on it, side effects aren't really there. Week 3, they're kind of coming on. Week 4, they're coming on stronger and stronger. And then by week 5, week 6, you're like, this stuff, I'm sick of taking this stuff. I just feel lethargic all day. My sleep is kind of being affected. Although I had no problem sleeping while I was on it myself, but other guys have trouble sleeping on it. Most guys do. You get the night sweats. What I kind of felt on tren, which was really annoying, was just it felt like I had a fever all the time. It was kind of annoying because I was like thirsty. No matter how much I drank, it just felt like it was never enough. So it kind of just feels like you have a fever and your body just on fire all the time. And you feel fatigued. You don't even feel like working out. But then when you go to the gym and then you start throwing the weights around, you're like, holy shit, I'm strong as hell on this stuff. So it really motivates you to work out while you're working out. But like beforehand, it's like you don't feel like going and working out because you feel very fatigued. So, on tren, it's one of those things where, the first few weeks on it, you're like, man, my strength's increasing. My body composition is changing so fast. And then once you get to week 6, week 5, week 7, for sure, you're like, shit, I want to come off of this stuff. I'm sick of this stuff. It's annoying the shit out of me. So that's been my experience on it. So I always tell new guys to tren, run tren A 6 weeks, get your feet wet. And then you can kind of the next time go maybe the 7 weeks, the next time go to 8 weeks. But I wouldn't run longer than 8 weeks, guys. Even if you feel decently on it, I would not push the envelope on this stuff because what's going to happen is your heart is going to be strained. Your kidneys are going to be strained. Your liver is going to get strained. Everything is getting strained. Your prostate's getting strained. You're starting to lose your head hair. The stuff is really harsh on your body as a whole. You're getting fatigued. Your sleep might be getting affected. It's just not worth it. 8 weeks on this stuff. It's so damn inflammatory in the body. That's the bottom line. It affects your gut health. It affects a lot of stuff in your body. So I really don't recommend going past 8 weeks for that reason. And if you can go past 8 weeks, I mean, you're a real trooper on this stuff. Because this stuff is really, really harsh. So I don't see any purpose of running it past 8 weeks at all. How about you, Rick? What's your opinion?
And now, as a guy listening, like, Steve, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I've been cruising on tren for the last 3 years. I felt fine. You know that, right?
Dude, if someone really has been cruising on tren for 3 years and they feel fine, I would tell them go get blood work done.
Feel perfect and I look great.
You're not gonna get like your blood work. Nothing screws your blood work up worse than tren. Trust me.
I think, look, depending on your experience level, like we've been doing the podcast of the different stacks for different experience levels, you can or you should do as little as 6 weeks to as much as 8 to 10 to maybe go as many as 14, depending on your experience levels. And you won't know if you can do 8 weeks and feel fine until you've done 4 and 6 a couple of times and see how that went. Then you won't know if you'll be able to do, go past 10, 11, 12 weeks and be all right on it until you've ran it 8 weeks, 9 weeks and see how you felt on it. So it's definitely, I definitely wouldn't take it any more than 14 weeks unless you have a coach because you're going on stage and he's telling you to do something different because you guys have figured it out. And we always throw that disclaimer out there because I realize there's a lot of guys that are actual trainers, coaches, and a lot of pros too that listen to our show. You'd be surprised how many pro cards there are out there now. And a bunch. And there's a lot of guys that listen to us, but they The smart ones work with coaches. They don't try to figure it out on their own, because your mind can play tricks with you, your ego, your bias. You're just not looking at the right things at the right times, right? So you want to make sure to work with a coach. If you're spending the time, the money, the energy to go into competitions, you work with a coach. And if he has you on trend for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I mean, and that's what you guys have figured it out, and you're never coming off because you're going all the way to the top, baby, then that's what you guys are working on. But regular guys out there, start off with like trend acetate, run that shit like 4 to 6 weeks, man. If you're a real new guy, use trend as maybe like a little quick start, like a kickstart, trend ace, 4 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, to see how you feel on it. If you're not feeling good, just drop it back down. Why not? You know, trend, you got to know yourself around trend. I've already figured out. I used to say no trend when I started doing this podcast with Steve. And now I'm like 100 megs a week. I feel it in there doing something. You know, I feel it in there doing something at 100 milligrams a week. You don't need that much. You know, look, a lot of guys can make progress natural, natty, and their body's only making, between 5, 7, maybe 8 milligrams of testosterone a day. So their body's making, and they can make some pretty phenomenal gains natural. A lot of guys can. Obviously, some supplements. So for 100 milligrams of trenbolone, which is something that it's stronger than your own testosterone, and it's almost more than doubling what your body kind of makes naturally. And I mean, you're going to get something obvious. And if you throw the 100 milligrams of tren in with other compounds, you're doing a longer cycle. It's just a little something to amplify the way everything else works. Why not? So that's my answer, Steve. Just arrange if you're a new guy trying to figure this out on your own, that's what you should stick to. Just see how it works for you little by little. If you're an experienced guy, you got your coach. I mean, he'll tell you better, but think Steve is right. Probably long term, trenbolone is not the one you really want to stay on for extended periods of time and long term. I mean, trenbolone is serious. Trenbolone is so serious, is an environmental contaminant. We'll have some more on that on another podcast, but this trenbolone getting into the environment, getting into bodies of water, changing the way fish reproduce and all kinds of shit. So, I mean, tren is serious, tren is serious. It's coming into the water supply apparently from cattle and stuff. So cattle pissing it out. So it's pretty serious. Something we'll discuss later on.
So next one is for you, Rick, because you had a very colorful answer on the forums about this one. Do different testosterone esters aromatize differently? We've had some guys over the years, come on and say that they're convinced that testosterone propionate aromatizes less than a longer ester testosterone. So what are your feelings on this? What's the science say?
Well, I think this is a lot of guys that don't understand their own bodies, don't understand what's going on. So what happens is you take test prop and your levels are going to go up and down unless you time it right and you inject it at the right times. You want to inject that shit every day pretty much. And then you keep some steady levels. If you suffer any side effects, you get off of it. A couple of days is done. But when you're talking or you're comparing it to something like cypionate, natate, you might be building up a good amount and getting to the point where your body will begin to aromatize and give you some issues. But since it builds up over weeks because of the longer half-life, then you're kind of in for a ride, and it lasts a little bit longer to get off of that ride if you're having issues with aromatization. So maybe old school guys kind of seen it that way. I think, and I felt in my own experience, is that when I keep my testosterone levels steady or my levels of steroids are aromatized steady, where I stick to a schedule, I don't miss doses, I don't take doses late, that I identify, or it takes me longer or maybe not at all to really identify the need to stack on an anti-E than the times where I haven't kept to a good schedule. Maybe the first time I ran testosterone propionate, and I injected it every other day instead of every day, like I would maybe do now, um, I might notice a little bit more of a need for the Novadex right away, or gain a little bit more water. And that's been my experience with it. Is the steadier you keep your levels, you kind of give your body a chance to stabilize. But if you're up and down with it, levels are rise and lower, and you might experience some more issues. How that response is different than what the conventional thinking is, that the longer esters give you more estrogen problems. I mean, that to me, that's just someone that doesn't understand the half-life of these compounds, and they don't realize that, a couple of weeks in, you're still having some of that first shot you took a couple of weeks ago, 20 days ago, even release, still there. Some of it may be still releasing. So you build up a higher dose that you're comfortable with, and then you think it aromatizes, and that's when you begin to build up experience, and then okay, 250 a week I might get away with without an AI. Once I go past 250, now I know I got to throw in a little bit of aromacin or throw in a little bit of Novadex. That's when you start to build your knowledge. But in my case, I know those ranges already within myself, and I just try to keep a steady level. If I'm taking that, like, even if I'm taking an Natate, I'll take it like Monday morning and Thursday night. I'll split the shot into 2 a week now, just because if I do that, in my own experience, is less of a chance that I'll need an anti-estrogen for that Natate. It's just been that if instead of doing 1 cc on Monday, every Monday, if I do half a cc on Monday morning and then another half a cc Thursday night, that I'll be all right. Like that can work. And less of a need for, if I do it acetate or if I do a propionate every single day, and then that's just been my experience. That's where it came from, Steve.
All right, I think you summed it up good. So let's just move on to the next one. What are Steve and Rick's favorite bodybuilders of all time? So for me, if you guys want to check it out, you want to Google episode 110 of Evolutionary Radio. I interviewed Frank Zane, and he's an interesting character. My co-host kind of got upset with the interview. He felt like he was being rude and being maybe pushy, but I didn't feel that way at all. So
where are you going? I'm not done yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's
well, look, Trevor did dip out on him. Like Trevor, he's like talking to him, and then Trevor is like on the Zoom call, and he disappears. That's a funny video. That's a classic.
Well, I mean, I don't. He was just joking around, but Trevor took it personally. So I didn't find. I listened to the podcast several times. And when I was doing it, I kind of felt that way when I first did it. Then when I listened to it a couple times, I didn't think it was that bad. So I have to give Frank Zane as my favorite bodybuilder because just because I interviewed him. So he probably has no fucking clue who I am, and that's okay. But
I'm sure he remembers the day he was on a podcast and that kid took off to go put his pants on.
Maybe
it was.
Maybe.
Well, remember Trevor came back. Remember Trevor came back and said that he was. I don't know. I can't remember. Was he put his pants off or something?
No. Trevor used to do that all the time on podcasts because he would just get up and go do something during the podcast, and then the guest would kind of just make this dumbfounded look, and I had to explain to the guest, I'm like, look, this is an audio podcast. It's not video, so I mean, don't even worry about it. Like he could still hear you.
Like you're a speaker in his room. He could hear you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think my other favorite bodybuilders, Arnold, I grew up watching, you're my age, Rick. I mean, we grew up watching Arnold movies. Most of them were atrociously bad acted. I'm sure, when we were younger, we probably thought he was a great actor or something. I never did. But I'm sure most people thought that he was actually a good actor. He's not a good actor or anything. I mean, he's not as bad as Stallone or anything. I'm not saying he's as bad as Sylvester Stallone, but he's a pretty, below average actor. But we enjoyed, Arnold. You just gotta love the physique, man. Just the physique is just incredible. Just is unbelievable. And then I think for me, Samir Bannout, because of his background and where he comes from and stuff. And then Lee Haney, same thing, just because his modesty, his humility. I mean, there's nobody anymore who has that type of mentality, that humility mentality. Look, I mean, isn't it incredible how we're only on alive? Like some, like me and you, Rick, we're in our early 40s. Can you believe like Rich Piana passed away, like, yeah, at what, 44, 43? Like, we're just a few years away from that. We're a couple years away from that. Like, so I mean, life is short, man. Like, so I mean, why be an egotistical, narcissistic, attention grabbing, bodybuilder? Oh, look at me, and always trying to spark controversies. No, just fucking handle your business, donate to charity, give back to the community. That's what it's all about. And Lee Haney is the poster, poster. He's the guy. He's the guy. I mean, he's literally done that, and he doesn't sit there and try to get likes on social media and put out bullshit videos just to get views and all this crap that we see in bodybuilding. So it's just that's why those guys are my favorite bodybuilders. And I like Arnold. For what he's done. He's been also a humanitarian. He's been pushing for a lot of things over years. He's been pushing for people to work out, to exercise. He's very much into the environment. He's very much into, he's very much into helping others and being, good. He was a crappy governor. I mean, he'll be the first one to admit that. He was a crappy husband. He'll be the first one to admit that. But when it comes to like a lot of stuff he's done in his life, crappy actor, I think he'll admit that as well. It's not like he's Brad Pitt, he's not like a great actor, but or
Get out.
Sean Penn or Tim Robbins. I mean, those are the actors of the generation, for sure. But he's done a lot of good things, like as a guy. And one of the things about Arnold that I respect, Rick, is that he's still going. He's still going, even at his age. And that's impressive because a lot of bodybuilders do not make it that old. Am I right? Am I wrong? He's 73 years old.
He's still going, man. Yeah. He's still rocking.
I mean, do any bodybuilders live that long these days? They're dying they're up and dead in their 40s. They're lucky if they get to 50 or 55. And he's 73, he's still going. I don't have any doubt. Like he's still got like another 10 years ahead of him. I have no doubt. So he's obviously knows nutrition. He knows health. And that's why he's my favorite bodybuilder. So I'm impressed by that. And Frank Zane is another guy too that knows his health and knows his body, because Frank Zane does not look his age. When I did the podcast with him, he does not look his age. And, I'm looking up his age right now. Can you believe how old he is, Rick? You know how old Frank Zane is now?
87, I believe. 87?
No, he's 78.
78. 70. Yeah. I flipped the numbers around.
Yeah. Can you believe he's 78? Oh, that's unbelievable. Like, he does not look 78 at all. So, I mean, that's what it's all about, guys. It's eating good, taking care of your body. I got a lot of respect for that. So how can you not view those guys as your favorite bodybuilders? And how about you? Let me get you in on this. Who are your favorites?
So you asked specifically bodybuilding, because as far as athletes, there's just a long list of other athletes.
Let's do bodybuilding.
But you asked bodybuilding. I was just still getting started with that. I was prefacing with that. But you said bodybuilder. The one guy that I really liked, I was really intrigued with, and then I went out and researched after I saw the film Pumping Iron, was Franco Columbu. The little guy right next to Arnold. So obviously Arnold's the fucking man. I like Arnold. Arnold I admire the most because everything he built on from where he started. He just kind of got at it with hard work, determination, and he got after it. And his story is really, really a good story of him, building, even when his parents were telling him that they didn't support him, when his parents thought he was crazy, going, being in the military and lifting weights on top of doing PT and everything else. I mean, just guy's just amazing guy. He came over from another country and became a film star, even with that accent of his. So obviously Arnold, but there's a little guy next to Arnold, Franco Colombo, and I liked him because he's around my height. He's a small guy. He's just very talented, and he not only had the accolades from being from placing well in bodybuilding shows and being the man in bodybuilding. He had a lot of different for a guy his size. He was only about 185 pounds for competition weight, and he just had incredible strength. He competed in the first edition of the World's Strongest Man in 1977. He came in, I think, fourth behind three other guys that were just monsters, next to him. He hurt his knee during that competition, and that kind of derailed his career a little bit until then. But he's just one of those really strong, athletic guys. Had a lot of different talents, the way maybe Arnold did himself. He was bodybuilding coach for Sylvester Stallone for one of the Rambo movies. He was also in Pump and Iron and some other Arnold movies I can't remember off the top of my head. But he was in some movies, and he also did some writing too, did some directing, and even down to the day of his death, it seems like he just stayed healthy all the way until he was 78. And then he just had a heart attack while swimming and died. I mean, look, you guys ask me, right? We all say we want to live a long time. But if I'm around 70 something, 80, and heart attack catches me and takes me, that's all right. I mean, it's better than agonizing, and some people agonize for years. Some people lose their fucking mind. Some people lose control of their body parts. And he didn't do none of that. Stayed pretty healthy. Then a single heart attack took him.
I wonder if he was...
Ain't that bad, dude.
But I wonder if it was just bad luck because he was swimming while he had the heart attack. If he had been in his
could have been.
And like say at dinner with his family and the heart attack happened, they could have got the ambulance,
could have been,
got him there, saved his life. So it's just maybe bad luck in that situation.
Could have been, who knows how his life would have changed after the heart attack, and he wouldn't have been able to go swimming after or do a lot of things. Who knows what the real condition for the heart attack is? Because sometimes you can live a healthy life your whole life, and then there's just something genetic that sets off around that age. You just have no idea what his life would have been like after that heart attack. Maybe I didn't know the question coming in today. Maybe I need to refresh my my Franco Colombo history, but I don't think it was that bad, dude. Honestly, just single shot. You don't agonize. You don't lose. You don't watch yourself wither away, and you watch yourself stop training and having to go with a lot of things you like doing. Just kind of going one shot before you spent years withering away. If you ask me, right, if I personally could die of a heart attack at 78 or survive my heart attack at 78, but watch myself kind of wither away and my life completely change and not be able to train, not be able to get more cardio in, not be able to do a lot for years and years after, I don't know. I maybe I'm speaking like this because I'm only 40, right? It's a long 38 years to go. But man, I might, the way I feel today at 40, I think I might want to go on top, man. I might want to go on top. I might not want to go laying around and not being able to do what I do. I think 78 is a good number too, by the way. I don't think it's a bad number at all. And I've thought, that science could keep us alive, replacing organs and all these other things that are going to be possible now for you to grow yourself new organs in a petri dish, maybe 20, 30 years from now. I thought, hey man, it'd be cool, like be part of the first people that live to be beyond 150 or something. But you know what, man? This shit's kind of exhausting. I think I think around 70 something, most of us will be like, fuck it. Like it's, life does build up
Don't
and I
talk like
think it's
that.
tired in the mind. At
Don't
what
talk like
time it
that,
does,
Ray.
bro.
Don't talk like that, Ray. When your
I
parents tell you
think,
that, they're like,
I
don't
think,
talk like that.
I think it's meant for us to move over and let the new generation come along. Imagine if people were a lot of people that passed away that were competitive are still around, or if people didn't wither away the way natural, then the newer blood wouldn't have a chance to come up. The newer blood wouldn't have a chance to survive. So it's kind of all right.
You know what you're going to be in your next life?
Oh, now I got a next life. I forgot you're from Persia. You
A
believe in
lizard.
this.
You're going to be a
I bet.
lizard. Remember? You're going to be a lizard. You're going to live in a little little thing, and you have a little light because you like being like you like lights and heat. But I was looking at Sardinia. What a beautiful place. Like he was born and died in Sardinia. So Sardinia, my gosh, it's got mountains. It's got 1,000-foot mountain at its peak, and if you're at 4 meter altitude, 13 feet. The temperature during January, February, during the winter, your average high is about 60 degrees. The average low is 50 degrees. The average low is about 42 degrees. And then during the summer, the average high during the summer months is about 87, and the average low is about 66. So it's got that Mediterranean climate. There's not much rain during the summer. The winter is, just a little bit of rain, a couple inches. They get a couple inches like over the winter months. It's a Mediterranean climate. That's how it is in the Mediterranean. The summer is very dry and the winter is more precipitation, but not much. There's not a lot of precipitation. So very sunny climate. Be a beautiful place to live, bro. Like that's why people in Sardinia, they live to 100, like a lot of them. That's one of the blue zones for a reason. So it has a lot to do with the weather. If you live in the cold climate or hot, super hot climate, miserable climate, that's going to wear down on your body, bro. It's not natural. But like a Mediterranean climate is the best place to live. So I would love to retire there. He had the right idea for sure. I don't know if he retired there or what. I don't know enough about him, but he must have still had family there or something. That would be a beautiful place to live.
Some of those islands, they are just some of the most beautiful places on earth.
The problem is the Mediterranean is a fucking toilet bowl. The pollution is so bad, it's become a toilet bowl.
That's everywhere. I mean, that's everywhere, man. The pollution is just unmanageable now.
It's a shame.
You and I lived the last generation where things were not that bad yet, where you could still enjoy and see some of nature, and then by the time we're 78, we're gonna see things really fucked up. Unless some really new technology comes along that's gonna clean everything up just as quickly as it got polluted, chances are we were the last generation to like really swim freely in the ocean at some point without just running into trash pile after trash pile. Where, I mean, the oceans, they're gonna get to
Venice,
that point next 10
during
years. You can't even go to the beach.
During the peak of the pandemic was the only time Venice had actually clear water because people were stuck in their home and they couldn't.
And now they're face masks floating everywhere in the ocean.
So I mean, yeah, it's
they're fucking face masks floating and on the bottoms of just the oceans. That's what we do. That's what the fuck humans do. So now face masks are one of the number one pollutants coming into the ocean now, behind plastic bottles still and all this stuff.
Yeah, and gloves and everything. So yeah, human beings are just dirty.
Unless some new technology comes along that we can just clean up the oceans by somehow taking the plastic out and leaving the plankton and everything else we need in there, and removing all of the different fibers and polyester fibers and ester fibers that from all of our synthetic clothing that gets in the wash, goes through the clothes and gets out in the ocean, and tiny animals like plankton are fucking eating these things and probably gonna just die off. We don't even know the impact of it yet. Like,
you need to come up with something, man.
Unless we can do all this and clean all this up, man. I'm telling you, bro, it's going to well, we might be the last generation and just kind of get into the ocean, to be real with you.
Well, someone out there needs to invent it, guys. If you're listening out there, invent it. come up with?
There's definitely a lot of things that are in the pipeline. A lot of good private companies out there developing new technologies to help with all of this. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, guys. So the next one we're gonna talk about, yeah, because I've been in the Mediterranean Ocean. It's all fucking jellyfish swimming around. There's like barely any fish left. Sharks are pretty much gone. It's all pollution, so it's a real shame. All right, guys. So the next one we're talking about: why does my blood pressure go up on steroids, and what can I do? So I'm gonna bring in Rick to talk about the best supplements for you. But let me go over really quick why blood pressure goes up. There's a few reasons why. Number one, steroids are very androgenic. Number two, steroids can be very estrogenic. So they can aromatize into water. When you're holding a lot of water weight, your blood pressure is going to go up because your heart is having to do more work, obviously. When you gain weight and rapidly, you gain a lot of weight rapidly, your heart has to do a lot more work, has to pump a lot more blood. Your blood pressure is going to go up. Your heart rate's going to go up. So, these are the prime reasons why our heart goes up. And then the third reason is inflammation, anabolic. Remember that word, anabolic. Okay, anabolic steroids are inflammatory in the body. Now, certain anabolic steroids are more inflammatory than others. Trenbolone, very inflammatory on the body. So that's why when you take trenbolone, your blood pressure goes sky high. It's very toxic in the body. Your cholesterol goes haywire on the stuff. So across the board, your lipid health, your blood pressure, your heart rate, cholesterol, all that stuff goes to hell the more harsh the steroid. So, and then if you go on a steroid cycle, say testosterone, Dianabol, you're retaining a lot of water in your body. Obviously, your heart has to work harder. It's like carrying jugs of water all day. It's going to wear down your body. So that's why blood pressure goes up, guys. So this is very serious. So you definitely want to be using an aromatase inhibitor if needed in the body. You want to use an AI. And you also want to make sure you're running your support supplements. So Rick, tell us about N2 Guard, which is, it's funny. I've had clients come to me and actually say, they're like, man, this stuff is amazing. This stuff works, because they've run cycles without it and then they've run cycles with it. And they actually say, wow, it makes such a big difference when I use it, because it really does help with your organ health.
Yeah, it's 7 capsules a day. We loaded the product up. 7 capsules you take per day. You get 30 days out of each bottle. And yeah, I mean, it's just all of the different natural ingredients you would need, vitamins, minerals to make up any deficiencies. And then you have a bunch. I mean, talk about 44 total ingredients in this formula. And they're all meant to just help your body deal with the stresses of steroid use. You obviously want to have your auxiliaries. You obviously want to not take high doses. You still want to really just apply good common sense and good health with your cycle. But now you throw N2 Guard on top of it, and you're going to be a lot better off down the line and in the short term. Like Steve said, guys that use the product, they can tell right away. They can tell how it works. They can tell what it's doing. And yeah, I mean, it's a great product. We've been now on the market with it for going on 10 years, and it's still a favorite of every steroid user out there. Now, we've made some changes to the product throughout the years. We had to remove red yeast rice and replace it with our Nor bark, because basically the FDA didn't want people selling red yeast rice anymore, and so got rid of that. Now we're having to get rid of NAC, and we're working out now the formula to replace that, because FDA got rid of that too. We added TUDCA once it became widely available and it became a feasible ingredient to add, although it's pretty expensive and it added to manufacturing costs of the product. We added the TUDCA, so you get the TUDCA in with each bottle. And there are other products on the market that compete against us with the promise of, organ support and liver support and all this stuff. Look and see if they got TUDCA to begin with. And chances are that if they have a pretty extensive formula with a lot of different ingredients, they're not going to put the TUDCA in there, because it raises the price to make it way too much. And chances are that if you find a product with the TUDCA, it's usually the only TUDCA, or it has TUDCA and maybe a couple of the little ingredients for mention, because most brands out there are trying to compete on a certain market price. I don't do that. So I give you the 44 ingredients, of which one of them is Tutka, and it's pretty aggressively dosed, about 250 milligrams per day. When if you're taking it along with all of the other ingredients, that's plenty. That's all you'll need for most of your cycles and things you run into. But for sure, we have other ingredients in there also to help you with maybe lowering some of that blood pressure and water retention from the steroids. I mean, it's a full out formula to help you with deal with all the stresses of what your body goes through.
All right, buddy. So the last one we're going to talk about really quick is fast food. So Rick, tell us about your fast food story on your log that you're talking about, Burger King.
Oh yeah. So had a long stressful day. Couldn't prepare my own meal that day. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna fucking cheat. I'm on a nice road. I'm getting my skin is getting a little bit thinner every day. I can see that I'm doing well. So I said, I'm going to swap out what will be my healthy meal today, prepping it and all that. And I'm just going to go straight to BK and relive a little piece of my youth when I was a young man eating Burger King here and there. When I was a young man, I had to get more calories in me because of wrestling. And when I would make weight, I would mostly dehydrate out just a few pounds before the match, but I didn't keep my weight all that low. A lot of times I found myself really needing those calories because we had pretty demanding workload. And so Burger King and driving a Burger King from my high school was like the first taste of freedom. I had my own little bit of money. I had decent jobs even as a kid, golf course and stuff, as a caddy, and made good bread. And when I got my first little car, basically Burger King is a good place that I used to like to go to. So now as a grown up, I'll grab a BK number 2 with bacon and cheese. I'll grab the fries and I'll just have a seltzer water. I won't indulge in sodas or sugar waters ever in my life under any real circumstances. I mean, it'd have to be just a very unique circumstance for me to indulge in some sugar water, because that's a slippery slope. Once you start, once you go back, I should say, if I went back to maybe needing some kind of sweetness in my, or some kind of taste in my beverage, you're kind of fucked again, because that's the reason most people out there listening to this have trouble staying in shape. It's because you have that fucking necessity for your liquids to taste like something. And if you can give that up, if you can get rid of that first, you're halfway home, baby, because that's most of the problem. So basically, I'll go and grab a number 2 BK large, and I'll just grab it with a seltzer water. And it's a twofold thing there. See, the seltzer water, 0 calories, right? So I don't get all the calories you get in that soda. And then 2, it doesn't shoot your insulin up to just stupid, glorious levels where just stupid levels where all of that meal has no other choice but to get stored as fat. I mean, it's a ridiculous response. But see, now the burger with the fries, although those fries have a lot of starches and you got some bun in your burger, guess what? Bacon, cheese, all that stuff has fat, and it'll slow down how quickly that bread and those fries get absorbed. It'll definitely slow them down. So it's still a lot of calories, but you slow down. It's different. Now that sugar water, ain't nothing slowing that fucking thing down. That sugar water is going straight through. So that's it, man. If you were guys out there listening, if you are in a high caloric demand, I like to do quite a bit of cardio. So I'm always worried about maybe not taking enough calories and begin to lose muscle mass. So when I have a spot and a chance where I can throw in a little cheat meal like this, I do. But the key is the seltzer water, guys. That's the fucking key. You can do a lot of different things, but you got to make sure to don't indulge in the sugars. Don't indulge in the sugar waters, and you'll be fine most of the time.
The problem with Burger King, with a burger from Burger King, from what I've been reading about it, Rick, preparing for this, the beef itself is supposedly 100% beef. So I'm not sure. It's probably very low quality beef. But so, I mean, in that case, but the problem is they cook that beef in refined oil. Okay, they basically it's fried in refined oil. Okay, and then the big issue is the bread, because the bread, the first ingredient in their bread is sugar. The second ingredient is enriched flour, which is refined flour. It's got partially hydrogenated soybean oil, high fructose corn syrup. It's got all this really, really bad shit, artificial flavors. So the bread is the killer, and the what they cook the burger in is the killer. So what I recommend in that situation is make your own burger at home. And what I do is I'll buy my own beef, good quality pasture raised beef. I'll What I usually do is I'll get like a half a pound, which would make 2 quarter-pound burgers. And I can have one burger today and one burger tomorrow. So it's really easy. Throw that, put some unrefined coconut oil on it, salt, pepper. That's really all you need. Throw it on your grill it, medium, medium to medium well, whatever, however you like it. And then I'll get a bun that is all natural. It's an all natural bun. It comes frozen, so you have to defrost it. But there's a couple brands, if you guys go to a health food store and look, that are gluten free. They don't contain any refined flours. They're completely all natural. They have maybe 4 or 5 ingredients in them, and it's all natural ingredients. So that's what I'll use if I want a bun, or I'll use just a lettuce wrap. And then, that's how I'll cook the burger, and it tastes delicious. I've actually had people, come to my house for barbecue, whatever, and they've had this burger and they just were in disbelief at how delicious it was.
And I just want to add in,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. But I started the story saying I basically couldn't meal prep because that day is, man, I throw some pictures up of the food that I cook.
Yeah, I know.
I actually had a nice steak, avocados, a hummus on a bed of lettuce. I mean, I had it all kind of there. And then I'm like, it's going to take me a little bit of time to cook that steak, to kind of prep everything out. I don't have the time. I got another thing I got to run to. So I said, you know what? I'm going to grab this quick BK, scarf it down, and then go on my day, because I don't get hungry anymore. But when I do feel a little something, I know that I have to give my body calories. Like, I don't care what's going on, if I'm cutting, whatever. There's just a feeling that I get. It's a weird kind of feeling deep in my chest. And when I get that, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what's going on. I eat. And it doesn't come very often. I'll get it more when I'm dieting down. But listen, man, if I'm eating at 4 to 9 every day, and then on a random day at noon, I get that feeling, and I know what the fuck that feeling is. I know I got to put some calories in me right away and not fuck around. You know what I mean? And that's kind of one of those situations. Like, don't have time to meal prep. You really kind of have to do it at the spot of the moment, and you just got to go. And by the way, I got a suggestion after you finish, Steve, for a healthy snack. If you really can't make
after I finish bashing your decision, but here's the problem: the gut, because those refined oils are going in your gut. They're starting to stick to things. That bread that you're eating, it's got so many ingredients, bro.
And not only that, your body.
Addictive. I mean, the stress, yeah. But the stress on your body,
there's an addictive aspect to that taste. There's something addictive about that taste.
I talked about that before. What happens is, see, that food does not taste good to me, buddy. I mean, it doesn't taste good because I'm not used to it.
I developed a taste for it, obviously.
So if you stop eating it for a period of time, I don't know how long it would take. It could take 2 weeks. It could take 2 years. I don't know. But you will find out over time that even the smell of that food is disgusting. So my point is, those of you out there who find fast food appealing or delicious, it's not the food that's actually delicious. Your body hates that food. It's basically, they're smart. They know what to put in that food to make you feel satiated and make you feel good. So, but the stress that you put your body on is not worth it, bro. It's not worth it.
And guys, check. Yeah, absolutely. Steve is absolutely right. And look, guys, a little bit of a different situation with me. Some of you guys out there might be listening. All you do is bodybuilding. All you do is bodybuilding and lift weights to look good. I don't. I fucking mountain bike. I go to dojo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, pads, whatever. I do it. So I burn a lot of calories. So I do find myself a lot of times just needing a lot of calories to go on with my day. Not only do I burn a lot of calories, the activities that I do just some of it causes damage that needs calories, protein, everything to repair. So a lot of times I feel like, all right, if all I'm having is, if all I can get is a protein shake in today, then my body's going to use that whey protein as energy. Is never going to make it to repair tissues that I need. So if all I can have, sounds funny, big a whey protein shake, 2 scoops in a shaker, boom, 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 and then knock back some fucking Burger King with it and go getting a bunch of calories in that my body's going to be able to use that day for running. Because yeah, Burger King food doesn't have all that nutrition that we really want, man. But does it have calories? And can you run on them? Fuck yeah. And then the good protein that you do take in throughout the day, if I was only able to get in, a little bag of beef jerky, maybe a pack of peanuts and a whey protein, then you've covered some of your base caloric requirements with that BK, and then the other thing can go to a good place. Now, look, I'm not saying if it fits your macros here, right? This is like once in a blue moon, I'll have BK. Like, oh man, it's got to be real unique situation. And when I do have it, I enjoy the fuck out of it. But I think it would lose its fun if I indulge in it more than maybe once a month, or once a month when I'm in the country. Because a lot of times I'll be out of the country for many, many weeks, and I won't even be around a BK. But yeah, the BK takes me back to high school days, man. It's first taste of freedom, first kind of, I guess you could call it, restaurant that I started to go to on my own without my parents, consistently, with girls, with buddies. And back then, being an athlete, burning a ton of calories every day, being a teenager, growing and burning calories, wasn't a huge concern that the food wasn't all that nutritious, right? We still got homemade meals at home to balance off, and it was just a good source of calories.
Yeah, I understand, buddy. But here's the thing: the burger that I mentioned has the same amount of calories, if not more calories. It's not about the calories; it's about the stress
Of
on your
course, a
body.
good homemade beef burger, man.
Yeah.
I make incredible burgers. I'm an incredible cook. I've said that on the podcast. I get
So
it.
I mean, everyone listening, if you're struggling to lose weight, that is the number one thing you need to do. Avoid fast food, avoid restaurant food, make food at home with real whole food quality ingredients, guys. It makes a huge difference because these refined oils, these sugars. See, I bet you didn't know that you consume sugar with that burger, but the bread, the number one ingredient in that bread is sugar. So I mean, that's
That
the
bread is
problem.
that bread is turning to sugar in your mouth before you've even swallowed. The enzymes in your saliva are already breaking that bread down into sugar. It's already sweet in your mouth, obviously. Yeah.
All right, guys.
But
So that was
you would agree that eating Burger King on its own, not that great. But if you throw the soda next to it, now you made it 10 times as bad for your
it's
diet,
horrible.
health.
Yeah.
I mean, 10x the impact, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You get
The
this
French
big,
fries are
big
really
jug
bad.
of water.
The French fries are really bad too.
You're already bad off with that. You're bad off with the bread. I mean, you're already on a wrong spot. But
Yeah.
you throw that sugar water on there, you're 10x is bad. Not only the short term, long term, and also you're craving for it next time. Every time you have sugar water, you crave for it more next time. The more you avoid sugar waters, the easier it is to not have it next time. And you make the whole situation worse. You go from just having a cheat meal that would be acceptable for somebody who's into fitness to then just really falling off the fucking wagon, like you really fucked up. You know what I mean? It's just my feeling on it. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I look. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're a lean guy like you, Rick, you can get away from Burger King. You can get away with Burger King once every couple weeks, absolutely. But if you're an overweight person, you're trying to lose weight, or you're like 15% body fat, you're trying to get under 10% body fat, you've never been that lean, you absolutely need to avoid fast food and restaurant food entirely because you're never going to reach your fitness goals if you keep spinning your wheels. So you can't set yourself out. Just the stress on your body of that one meal. You say, oh, it's just a burger, just that stress that you're putting on your body. That burger, the way they prep it in refined oil is a killer. Even if you don't eat the bread, just the refined oil that they're cooking that burger on. Basically, they're frying it on the cheapest fucking vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever that they can possibly find. No restaurant uses unrefined cold pressed coconut water unless I don't know, maybe you're in some hippie part of California and there's some restaurant over there that does it, but then they're going to charge you like 5 times as much for the same burger. So obviously they wouldn't be able to stay in business. So no restaurant like Chipotle, they use sunflower oil, refined sunflower oil, but they brand themselves as healthy. So, just don't fall for it, guys. It's just you've got to all the stuff you can make at home with good quality ingredients. That's basically my point. But it's a good lesson, it's a good lesson for sure. All right, guys. So we will talk
Just
to you
just an,
next
just as
episode.
FYI, on my Facebook I have one of my I did a cheat meal. It's a Cheetos burger that I did just for Facebook. It's a great post. So go to RickyVRock.com. Go check out my FB, and in there you'll find the Cheetos burger that I make. It's good beef, 100% beef, pretty lean, good cuts. It's a good burger. We just crush some Cheetos, make a dust the whole bread with Cheetos, throw some in the middle. It's a good cheat meal. And still probably healthier than that BK I had. So check that out on my Facebook when you have a chance.
All right, guys. So this was episode number 403. We're speeding right along. We'll have another Q&A next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.